Hey everyone, my name is Jay, and today I'm diving into a theory that really speaks to how we grow, heal, and understand ourselves as people. It's called the Humanistic-Existential theory, and it's not just a mouthful, but a popular holistic approach to counseling. So, what's this theory all about? At its core, it blends three big ideas: humanistic, existential, and gestalt psychology. Even though they each have their own flavor, they all agree on one thing, that is, people have the power and responsibility to shape their own lives in meaningful ways. So, first up, the humanistic approach. Think Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. These are the guys who believed we are all inherently good, that we're motivated to grow, and that with the right support, we can become the best version of ourselves. They emphasize self actualization, inherent goodness, holistic understanding, and unconditional positive regard, according to National Library of Medicine 2021. Then we have the existential approach. With thinkers like Viktor Frankl and Rollo May, they focused on the big stuff like inevitable changes, freedom and responsibility, and the authenticity according to National Library of Medicine 2021. Life's tough, right? But existentialists say that we get to choose how we respond to those challenges. And rounding it out is the Gestalt approach, courtesy of Fritz Perls himself. Gestalt is all about awareness in the here and now, according to Clark 2024. It's about taking ownership of your experience, whether that's through role playing or the famous anti chair technique. It's all to connect back to the body and mind. It's raw, it's real, and it can be super transformative. So, how does it how does all of this show in therapy? First, First up is the emphasis on the present moment. Gestalt and existential therapists stress the importance of the here and now. Clients are encouraged to become aware of their immediate thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations to resolve unfinished business or emotional blocks. Secondly, the therapeutic relationship as a healing space. Humanistic therapy focuses on the therapist's authenticity, empathy, and non judgmental presence. The relationship is seen as collaborative, where the therapist is a facilitator, not an expert giving advisor. And then, thirdly, is personal responsibility and freedom. Clients are viewed as capable of making choices and taking responsibility for their own actions, which is a key theme in all three approaches. Gestalt therapy particularly challenges clients to own their experiences rather than deflect or project onto others. Fourthly, is the whole person focus. These theories avoid reductionist thinking like labeling or diagnosing. Instead, they aim to understand the individual as a whole, including thoughts, feelings, behaviors, body awareness, and spiritual dimensions. Then lastly, search for meaning and integration. Existential therapy helps clients confront life's deeper questions and find personal meaning, while Gestalt therapy here assists in integrating conflicting parts of the self, leading to greater wholeness, whereas humanistic therapy helps clients align with their values and discover their authentic voice. Next, we're going into the strengths and weaknesses of humanistic existential theory, and we will be talking about strengths first. So, firstly, is the effectiveness in addressing client issues, which is through deep emotional healing. This approach is highly effective for clients facing identity crisis, grief, low self-esteem, existential anxiety, and trauma, according to Elliott 2020. Clients are empowered to explore meaning, make authentic choices, and resolve unfinished emotional conflicts. And then, secondly, is the applicability in diverse settings. So it is a flexible and culturally adaptable. These approaches do not rely on rigid techniques, making them applicable across cultural backgrounds as it emphasizes on meaning and personal responsibility as it aligns with many spiritual or collective worldviews. And then age groups from adolescents exploring identity to adults facing life transitions. And then lastly, settings are considered as well, such as private practice, schools, pastoral counseling, and trauma recovery programs. We are moving on to the weakness now. Okay, and let's look at challenges in application. Firstly, it is not suitable for all clients. This therapy requires a high level of introspection and cognitive capacity as they need to engage in deep self-exploration. Secondly, it is time intensive. This can be a challenge in settings that prioritize brief, solution focused or manualized treatments. Thirdly, it is also less standardized. It suggests that existential approaches lack structured guidelines, which can make their application inconsistent and harder to evaluate. And then next up is areas where it might not be suitable to use this approach. Okay, firstly, in crisis or emergency counseling, because these situations requires quick decision making and may not benefit from the introspective, directive style that it is. And then, secondly, in settings with measurable outcomes, for instance, like insurance based systems or research trials, the subjective progress and lack of standardized outcome measures make it harder to justify in some professional or institutional settings regardless. And then we're moving to the rationale of choosing humanistic existential theory. Okay, why did I choose this theory, you may ask? Well, humanistic existential theory views clients as whole individuals, not as problems to be fixed, has values I deeply resonate with, plus, it offers a pathologizing approach, focusing on client potential rather than dysfunction. Gestalt techniques promote present moment awareness and help resolve unfinished emotional issues. And then we're moving into the how it aligns with my personal beliefs, values, and approach to counseling. Okay, let me tell you, I believe that every person has an innate capacity for healing and growth, given the right support. The theory's core principles matches my interpersonal values. I naturally adopt a non-directive client-centered approach in relationships. I value meaning making and self-exploration. I prefer also a collaborative, equal relationship with clients rather than a hierarchical one. And all of this aligns with the theory that I chose. And then next up is the it's the relevance to my practice. Okay, it is effective in addressing deeper emotional existential concerns and prepares me to work with clients who are exploring common concerns in life. And then the relevance in population I work with, that is adolescents and young adults who often struggle with identity, self-esteem, and life transitions. And then the alignment with my professional goals, as it actually supports my goal and align with my professional aim, which I actually mentioned earlier in where I told about um, my personal beliefs. Okay, continuing is what is psychoanalytic theory? You may ask. Well, according to Nash 2018, psychoanalytic theory emphasizes the unconscious mind, childhood experience, and internal psychological conflicts. Okay, let's compare and contrast, shall we, with the both theories. Firstly, the difference between the theories in underlying philosophy. Humanistic existential theory is more to seeing the good in people, focusing on the here and now, and believing that the future is in your hands. Whereas psychoanalytical theory is more on the unconscious mind and how the therapy could help in dissecting the past, and how the past is what shapes the character and mind. And then, secondly, is the difference in techniques and methods. Okay, humanistic here uses techniques like empty chair, and therapies are more like a companion as it is a client centered approach. And the style of the session is like a little conversational. Whereas psychoanalytical here uses techniques like dream analysis, and therapists are quite neutral and interpretive as it is therapist centered approach. This session style will dig deep into the past. And then thirdly is the differences in approaches to therapy. Humanistic here uses person centered, existential, and gestalt therapy, whereas psychoanalytical here uses association, dream analysis, and transference analysis. And then moving on to the similarities between those two theories. Okay, so they help in inducing self awareness, explore underlying causes of distress, making sure they know how vital is the therapeutic relationship is, encouraging in to express their emotion, and help in personal growth. And then we move on to how the differences affect the therapeutic process. Okay, so humanistic focuses only the now, client led, authentic driven, and use experiential techniques, as I mentioned before. Whereas psychoanalytical focuses on the past, therapist led, interpretive driven, and more on reflection. And then moving on to the how the differences affect client outcomes. Well, humanistic here builds personal growth, more adaptable with all age groups and people from different backgrounds as well. And it leads to quick emotional relief, which is good. Whereas psychoanalytical here brings out the deep down. It is not fast emotional reliever like humanistic here is, but gradually gives a deep change over time. And in conclusion, I chose humanistic existential theory because it's all about real connection, empathy, and helping people grow by truly understanding themselves in the moment. And that's exactly how I want to help others in the future as a counselor. Thank you. Oh, and these are the references. Thank you.